Hi, this is Caitlin.
Gabry. I don't know why I said it like that. It's fine. Just moving on.
Jeffrey. And this week we will be talking about Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Just really excited.
Jeffrey, Caitlin.
Okay, I'm just gonna live this down. It's fine.
I'm
It's fine.
sorry, I live to tease you. Okay. So I think, well, this is just me being very biased, but I really like Steve and Natasha's relationship throughout all of the movies is one of my favorite things.
hmm
So I think we should talk about that first because I think this movie is like the best representation of their, friendship that we get. It's so good. And it
Oh yeah,
characterizes them so well.
they're fantastic.
Like it's the one thing I think it's one thing that doesn't get like ruined in future movies. Like I feel like Sam's characterization kind of flounders in the next few movies and like
He
I don't
definitely feels underutilized.
yes, yeah. Which that's a whole other thing that we should talk about, put a pin in it for now. But like and like even Natasha's characterization, I feel like in Age of Ultron suffers a lot. I think
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just so good in this movie, and part of the reason it is because she has someone like Steve to kind of bounce off of,
hmm
I think. And it just works so well. I love them.
Mostly just when they're on the run. That whole scene when they're in the pickup truck and they're driving to
100%, absolutely.
the army base. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
It's
I almost feel like that's out of a different movie. Like
yes,
out of
I
an,
agree.
not even out of an Avengers movie, just like in some other action movie.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's almost because like Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans, they just have this like they have a I mean, they're really good friends outside of all these movies,
hmm
right? They've known each other for a long time, but they just have a really good like on-screen chemistry. They're
Yeah, I
always
think
kind
it
of
really
able
comes
to,
through.
yeah. And the Russo bros knew knew that or saw it, and they were able to like bring it out in this movie, and I appreciate it so much. That
Love
scene is
that.
so good. Yeah. And I think I wrote about this kind of accidentally extensively in my notes um, about the moment where it's near the beginning. It's the moment where they're on the ship and she's like doing her own thing for Fury, right?
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
yeah, and Steve didn't realize that this was the thing that was happening. Um, and Steve's like upset with her, and there's like this one moment where she gets a look on her face where it was like, "Shit, Natasha, you did it again!" Like, and then she has to like make a little note, like,
Like,
"Okay,
tell
note to self:
Steve.
Steve does not like it when I don't tell him the entire thing." Like, she's really just trying to like her character arc in this movie is trying to get specifically Steve to trust her because she likes Steve and Steve's a good person and her whole thing is, we get it from the Avengers that she wants to wipe the red from her ledger.
hmm
And I think sometimes she just doesn't realize that this is not how you're supposed to like go about things, if that makes sense. Like she has been trained a certain way, brainwashed, and Nick Fury and Shields have kind of been, and Clint have kind of been undoing that
hmm
brainwashing, right? But there are still some things that she just the look on her face when Steve like was like, you fucked up, Natasha. Like, why didn't you tell me? That's so dumb. She just looked like, oh shit, like I didn't I didn't realize there I go upsetting someone else again.
Right.
And it's just I thought that was such a good scene. And Scarlett Johansson, I think, does a really good job in this movie of
Yeah. I didn't really
character.
notice that, so I think that's a really interesting insight.
Thanks.
Proud of you, kid.
It's so weird not seeing your face.
I know. I've got this. Should I tell them what I'm seeing? I'm seeing your icon.
Yeah, it describes
Baby
my
Kate,
icon.
toddler Caitlin drinking, I don't know what she's drinking, but she's
It's
drinking something out of like a fancy mug with a straw, and she's giving the camera some serious side eye.
it's like my favorite picture of myself. And it's not actually, I love that you described it as a fancy mug because the picture in question is me holding a like large like cup of probably soda or fruit punch from McDonald's.
Oh, okay. Well,
McDonald's
so where your hand is, there's like some
kind of
kind
looks
of
like
thing there, and it kind of looks like a handle.
it does kind of look like a handle.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, well, I mean, you had mentioned Sam, I mean, Sam,
Oh yeah.
we open meeting Sam, and
What a good opening, by the way.
he has maybe the most chill introduction. And when I say the most chill introduction, I don't mean like, I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but like when he meets, like a superhero, he is the most calm about it.
He is chill. He's so chill.
He's
I mean,
like,
I
oh,
think
this
that's
is just
true.
another
Yeah.
dude. We have this thing in common, which is
Yeah.
that we're both in the military, and we're just gonna hang out. It's
Good.
Yeah.
And I feel like possibly I feel maybe I'm just more reading into this because we don't get a lot of characterization for Sam after this movie, in my opinion. But I mean, we learn that he's, I think he's a therapist or some kind of psychologist, right?
He's
war
leading
veterans?
some kind of like group
Yeah,
sessions.
for PTSD and war veterans, right? Or getting out there or something. Maybe we should look that up.
He said he was at the VA.
Yes.
Yeah.
So veterans, yeah. And I feel like for someone to have the the presence and peace of mind and I don't know, like the intelligence and to be able to like talk to these people and give them the correct advice, like he kind of has to be that kind of person, like just be like, oh, okay, you're a superhero or whatever, you're also just like another veteran, which is what Steve kind of is. I don't know. I wish that we got more from Sam. This movie is so good to him, and he's such a good character. He keeps up with Steve, and Steve is witty. He's also like a troll. He's a
For
master
real,
troll,
though.
and he's super witty. Like that entire first scene on your left, like he has no idea who Sam is, and he's just doing that just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
And I love that. He just thinks it's funny that he can run around Sam a bunch of times.
Did you take another lap? I assume you just took it. Right? Absolutely.
Also, a very small tangent. Sam Steve, like as a pairing, is very underrated, but it's a very, very good pairing.
Okay.
Consider.
I didn't consider that only because the only person I've ever seen Sam paired with is Bucky in the Foodieverse fix.
Which is fair.
So like I never considered
good.
anything else because I'm like, but it's the Foodieverse. Gospel.
Sam Bucky is also very good. I like that. But we're not here to talk about ships. If that would be a whole other podcast, probably. I know we could be.
Special episode.
We have enough opinions. We should do like a ship war opinion episode.
That would be fun. Oh my god. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, write that down. I mean, since we're on that scene, not to stop talking about Sam and switch to Steve, but he's so open to like talking about the future and adjusting, and I feel like a lot of people picture Steve as someone who's stuck in the past and like not adjusting very well.
Right.
I just don't think that's true. This movie does a lot to show like, nope, you're wrong. Like he's actually doing really well. He's watched Star Wars.
Yes.
Which I love. It's the only thing crossed off his list.
Important because it's the most important.
And me and Gabby both like made the same note in our notes. So what we do is like we watch the movie separately, we write notes separately, and then we compare. And both of us had written down Steve is aware of Star Wars because it's like the most important, and also Tony definitely made him watch it.
We're like, Tony made him watch them.
We were on the same page for that. It's definitely a Tony movie.
Absolutely.
Movie series. Love them. Love that
Absolutely.
guy.
But you're right. And he's also not fragile about talking about the past either. Did you say that?
I don't know if I put in those words.
Like he makes jokes about it.
Yes.
Like the internet, oh, it's so helpful. And it's like, oh yeah, food is way better. And like, oh yeah, I can imagine. So he's kind of downplaying it, maybe being like self-deprecating. And I know a lot of times people do use that to like cope or like cover for things, but I don't really believe in this case that that's what he's doing.
Yeah. I
Right
think it's
there,
just
at
Steve's
least.
personality.
Yes.
I think
He's
he's
way
just
funnier than people give him credit for.
he's so funny. And like I mean, I don't know as much about like the Avengers ensemble movies because I feel like we talked about this in Avengers when they kind of par down all the characters into like their base stereotypes. So Steve is just very patriotic and old man kind
Right.
of
Right.
thing.
Because there are so many of them. You kind of.
Exactly. Better, yeah. You kind of have to, I guess. I guess in that
Yeah.
case to par him down. I think we could do a better job, but that's just me personally. Uh, but like this movie, and I mean, even in First Avenger, and I think kind of Civil War, but again, Civil War is also almost an ensemble movie. But at least the first two that we get with Steve, he's so funny and like sly and witty. And it's like, dude, this is why you and fucking Bucky are best friends. Like,
It's true.
they're the
Very
same.
true.
We should probably talk about Steve and Bucky, considering this is like
Yeah,
the Winter Soldier. Let's talk about the Winter Soldier.
that's true.
I feel like you would probably have more to say than I do because I think Bucky's hot in his Winter Soldier outfit, but that's like that's like the
I
extent of
like
my
when he
analysis.
does the knife thing.
Oh, the
I was
knife
like,
flip.
I wrote down the knife thing and then I wrote hashtag predictable.
It's so hot. I don't know what it is about knives in general. Is that a bisexual thing that like
It must
bisexuals?
be.
Because every bisexual person I meet were like, "Oh my God, I fucking love knives." So hot. But anyways, it is a very hot moment where he's fighting Steve, he flips the knife, and it's like, oof,
All right,
dude.
oh my God. I'm trying to think if I had anything other than like me crying. Oh, I see one thing. Yeah, we did both talk about the same moment. So their whole final scene. Let's start with that, maybe.
Yes.
Because I think that's maybe the best part, aside from Bucky being really sad and repeatedly saying that he knew who this person was, but he has no idea who he is.
Ugh, I knew him. What a
But
like it's 3 words and it holds so much. But anyway, sorry, go on.
no, I just in case there's glitching in this recording at all, I just want to let people know that there is an ice storm going on outside
Yeah.
and everything is bad
Yeah, the
in the
connection
Midwest.
is not good on either end. It's very icy. Someone told me at work that they were expecting 2 to 3 inches of ice, and I was like, "How do you expect inches of ice? Like, how does that work?" And I still
That's
can't wrap my
insane.
mind around
That's
it.
so much. Ugh,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Anyways,
Oh, okay. Right, we were talking about Bucky. So yes, so you had said that talk about the parallel.
oh my God. So the parallel of the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger, Steve, drives a plane into the ice and he kind of falls into the ice water, I guess, and freezes, and people think he's dead, but he's not. And this time, at the end of the film, he falls into the water, but this time he doesn't die because Bucky's there to pull him out. Bucky is actually alive this time, and that made me cry.
Can't believe I never
Everyone.
thought of that. I'm really upset. But like in the
I
best
didn't think of
possible
it until
way.
this time, but like you just know, like if Bucky had survived the first film, like he wouldn't have just like
Oh
let
yeah,
Steve.
he would have found
He
Steve.
would have been there. He would have found him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he would not have given up.
They're inseparable. Anyway, no, what
Yeah,
I had been wondering was because I love that scene. I love the music in that scene. Everything about
so
it.
good.
But I was wondering if there is anything like how they do tie-ins about like between films or whatever for
Yeah.
things now. Is there anything that takes place after Bucky leaves him on the riverbank while he's working, while he's like processing like his identity and stuff? Because the next thing we know is like he just shows up, right?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of have the after credit scene of this. There's a final
Oh,
one. I
that's
don't
right.
know if you
That's
saw.
right.
Yeah. But
Yeah. When he
like,
goes to the exit
yeah.
bank, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't know when that takes place. I mean, it's kind of, I would expect it to be somewhere in the time frame of a couple months because the exhibit's still up.
Yeah.
But he looks like fine.
Right.
He was able to somehow get into the exhibit.
And he's wearing normal
Probably not
clothes.
Yes, and I think they're clothes similar to what you find him in Civil War, right?
That's
I
true.
think so.
True.
I don't know.
I was just wondering because I know that there will be like book tie-ins or comic tie-ins for things, and I'm just wondering if there's like a small like comic arc where he's like like figuring things out, because I would love to see that.
I would also love to see that. And I'm like, it definitely sounds like something that like they know that Bucky is a fan favorite character, and they do those kinds of comic tie-ins and preludes. I think that's what they're calling the Infinity War and Endgame ones. They do those all the time nowadays. So maybe they did it back then. I don't know. There should be one if there's not.
That'd be sweet.
So speaking of like Steve Bucky in general, the one flashback scene we get with the two of them, where he's like walking Steve home and he's like, "Oh, you could stay with us," or whatever. That's right? Okay.
Yeah.
That whole scene, like, I mean, I don't even know if it's like a minute long, maybe 2 minutes top, right? But it characterizes them both in their relationship so well. Like, that's damn good writing,
You're right, it does.
Some people can't do that in an entire movie, and yet you know exactly who those people are and what their relationship is super quickly.
I mean, I think the most telling, I don't know if that's the right word, most revealing part for me is when Steve can't find his keys and Bucky just knocks over whatever the thing is where they keep the spare key under.
Yep.
He knows where it is.
Kills me. He knows, because that's how close they are, and that's the kind of friends they are, or family, really. I think they're family, yeah. And it just kills me in the best way. Because then, you see them later on the ship, and there's that whole scene, like, "I'm not going to fight you," or whatever he says, because I'm with you to the end of the line. And then I cry. So when I was watching this movie, I couldn't help but think about what this movie does so much better than Thor, which is one of the movies we watched for last episode.
Oh, yeah.
And they mention, what this movie does is they mention other Avengers and other people in that Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. They mention the world around them, but it 100% does not define the movie. Like, this movie is, by my count, usually one of people's favorites. Like, it's really high up there for almost everyone that I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
They love this movie, and rightly so, because it's really well done, I think. But it does, like, all these mentions of other characters in the world doesn't detract from it being an individual defined movie, right? Like, they mention like, oh, Banner developed it for stress, the thing that allowed Fury to fake his death. And then, oh, Tony Stark looked at the turbines after a close run-in with them, which is a reference to the first Avengers movie. Then Clint's little arrow on Nat's necklace, which is like such a cute little reference.
They mentioned Strange as one of the insight targets.
Yes.
Which I did not remember.
That's like an Easter egg almost, because if you don't know who Stephen Strange is at this point, like, he doesn't know yet. In 2014, whatever this was. But it's those little things. Like, this movie takes place in a very huge world. It doesn't need to be so, stripped away from everything else like Dark World is. Ugh, I'm still not over it, but we're not talking about Dark World, so we'll move on. I just need to say it.
Totally fair. Should we talk about insight and everything?
Probably should, because that's like the hugest.
I guess.
Or it's technically like
it's kind of the actual villain's thing.
Yeah. Project Insight is the villain. Just kidding. It's that Rob dude or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So Robert Redford, though, because this was one of the few Avengers movies I actually got my mom to go to. She won't go to them anymore. She thinks they're too. The fight scenes last too long for her, and they're too dark. And by too dark, I mean like the brightness, like Mom. The lighting.
Come on,
the lighting is too bad for her. Anyway, but the moment when Robert Redford, as soon as you realize he's evil, like the indignant gasp that she made in the theater was amazing. She's like, "How dare you?"
Oh that's Robert Redford. Do you know?
How dare they? It's like when Dick Van Dyke was evil in like
Wait, when was he
in
evil?
Night at the Museum. Like we were like,
oh my god, yeah, you're
you?
right. But like that's like good casting on their part. You know what I mean? Like you
That's
see
true.
Robert
Right.
Redford or Dan
They're gonna
Dyke, and you're
throw
like,
him
they
off
could
his rhythm.
I'm just thinking about the post where it's like John Mulaney is facing off against Thanos, and he's like, "You want these Infinity Stones?
Go,
Go and get it!" He runs off.
He'd live,
probably. Oh my
probably.
god. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
No,
I have that.
This is what you came here for, people, not the analysis. You came for the tangents. Okay.
The John Mulaney tangents in every single episode.
Listen, I know at least one person who enjoys them, and it's not me, and it's not you.
It's not, yeah, and I actually know a different person, and I don't think they're the same person. So,
two
people.
Fantastic.
2 listeners who enjoy the John Mulaney tangents.
God bless you. Oh, anyway, yeah, Insight.
Project Insight. Who are we? What are we doing?
What's going on? Insight. Okay, so there are like 2 quotes that I think are key here. Where Steve says, "I thought the punishment usually came after the crime," and Fury saying, "It still takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be." Yeah. Those 2 seem central to that entire conflict.
Yeah, that central conceit of the movie, I think, really. Which, man, I mean, it's like a fucked up idea.
Seriously.
But unfortunately, I think it's one that obviously hopefully we don't actually have, things ready to kill people who have committed crimes or look like they might commit crimes. But it's that spying aspect is not something that exists solely in this science fiction-y,
right,
world. It's pretty real, unfortunately.
Right.
And that's what makes this scary. I don't remember, like, in my mind, history-wise, when the news broke that, like, people in the government and in companies have been, like, spying on us through our phones or whatever, but was it around the same time as this, or did they just, like, unfortunately guess accurately?
I have no idea.
No, do you remember?
And I feel like the fact that I don't remember kind of speaks volumes about how normalized it is.
Yeah.
That's not great.
I agree. But I mean, it is scary. Not to like this. I mean, this has nothing really to do with Winter Soldier and the plot of Winter Soldier, but the fact that like it is normalized, and all this news about Facebook, for example, coming out, and they've definitely been spying on us, targeting us, and yet no one is stopped, or not enough people are stopped using Facebook. People are keeping their Facebook for a variety of reasons. I still have a Facebook, although I want to delete it. It's a thing that we get used to.
Yeah, that and I think this is something that, tangent again, that comes up in conversations about Twitter a lot, is that there's no massively accepted alternative yet.
Exactly. And we can't just give it up.
Yeah, you'd have to get everyone to migrate to it, or like at least everyone in your circle.
Yep.
To migrate to it, and that's
right. But that is a severe tangent, and it only sort of relates. It sort of relates because that's what Project Insight has kind of been doing. And it's terrifying that
data mining.
yeah, data mining. Yeah, that's a better way to bring it all together. Yeah. Except this version, they're gonna kill the people. Oh God, I feel like I can't even talk about this because I was just thinking about the news story that broke about. Did you read this about 21 Savage? And he rapped recently, and
I know I heard about
a recent rap. Yeah. So he recently like called out ICE in a rap, and then like 5 days later, ICE arrested him. And you cannot tell me that wasn't incredibly pointed and incredibly like a response to that rap.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of shit that like this Project Insight is talking about.
No, definitely. Ugh. So, anyway, but the good news is that ideally and hopefully people in real life will stand up to it, just like that one kid who is my hero in this
True.
movie.
I love him. I love that
That
moment.
I'm I'm so proud of him. Every time I see that scene, I'm so proud of that kid because that has got to be terrifying.
So
I
he's
can't even
so
imagine
brave.
being in that situation.
Yep. And that's like that's part of why I love superhero movies, right? Is that what a good superhero movie does, in my opinion, is inspires other people to act like superheroes, to act good, right?
Right.
And this shows it there. Steve has this whole speech about, like this is what happens and this is what Shield, or Hydra is going to do if you launch those ships. Don't launch the ships. Like, please, like help me, be good. And that one guy is like, yep, captain's orders. I can't do it. I'm not gonna launch them. And that's such a brave moment. Like this guy like has a gun on him. I don't remember if Rumlow was like pointing it at him at that moment. But he's certainly threatening him.
Oh yeah.
And everyone is staring at him like it would have been so easy for that man to just press the button and like that's it, done, don't have to
Mm.
worry about it anymore. But he's brave and he stands up, and I love that so much. He's a superhero in that moment. He's a hero.
Yes.
If we were to rank
Absolutely.
that one man on our hero chart,
He'd be at the
he,
top.
he'd be at the very top. We love him.
Yes, he's great.
I think I kind of went on like a rant there.
Make him an
It's fine.
honorary Avenger. Anyway,
Agreed.
I mean, we could talk about Fury. Fury's pretty important in this.
That's true. Okay, Fury. Yeah. I also like, I mean, if we want to talk about, I mean, Fury on his own, but also like Nat and Fury's relationship, man, that I think is also really done well. Like
I
that's
think
like
that's
her
underexplored.
it
So,
is very underexplored. I don't see like really anyone talking about it, but I think about it every time I watch this movie. Is that like that's like her dad, you know what I mean? Like he
I feel like
kind of
he's
not really,
definitely
but
a mentor father figure. Yeah.
he's a father figure. 100%. Like, what does she say? Like, when he's, getting operated on and just before he quote unquote dies, she's
Mm.
like, "Don't do this to me, Nick." And when he does quote unquote die, um, she is like totally broken, totally upset. And then the first thing that Maria says when they like bring him to see Fury when he's actually alive,
Right.
she's like, "Oh no, she meaning Natasha is gonna want to see this or want to see
Yeah.
him."
You know
Like,
he
oh man,
you know he
so
had to do
good.
it to her.
God damn it! This is a meme show, everyone. Just so you're aware,
Listen, I'm
we
so
only do
sorry.
memes here.
I'm so sorry. But you're right because he was instrumental in getting her to leave the KGB.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
KGB
yeah.
and come work for Shield.
Because she was already, if she's born in '84, and let's say, I don't know, when does she defect from the KGB? She's probably around 20 years old if we're going by like when the Widow movie is supposed to take place in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
So, but 20 years old, you could still find a father figure. And I mean, if she's been brainwashed, she needs someone to kind of
Right.
re-raise her almost. And that's what I think Fury is for her. That positive father figure for what it's worth.
Right, because I think this is key. Both of their backgrounds are key to this, obviously, because I don't know if this is something that you would experience in like a ordinary commonplace relationship. But
Very
like
true.
but
Very true.
he won't judge her because he has also seen and done some shit.
Yes, yeah.
So he understands that she's trying to unlearn this stuff and that she's probably gonna fuck up in the process.
Yep. Yep. I love that though. It's so good. And I feel like this is really the only time that we see that really. except for kind of in Avengers a little bit, but this is really the last movie where they directly interact. Because after this, I think he appears once in Age of Ultron, but then he doesn't come back until Infinity War. Is that right?
Yeah, he was at the end of Infinity War.
He was at the end. I just don't remember if he was in a movie between Age of Ultron and Infinity War, but I don't know. Anyways, they don't interact is the thing really past this movie.
I mean, how much of it has to do with the fact that he's hiding out, because
True. I mean, that's I think how they explain it away, right? Like, oh, he's faked his own death, right? So he's hiding.
Right. And
with Maria or whatever.
burning all of his personal belongings. Is that what they are?
I don't know. I was
fake
confused.
IDs. Who's to say?
All of his fake shit as a spy.
I like you were in your notes, you were trying to figure out what was going on, and I was like, he's so cool.
You're like, this is a cool scene because he looks cool. And I was like, what is he burning? What is happening?
I assumed that they were like, like documents or like personal things or anything that could be used to find him.
That would make sense. Yes, I would. Yeah. I would guess that's true.
Logic.
Also, one thing, this is only tangentially related, but you know how he's in that car and the car is like super cool AI and it's doing all these things for him? And for a moment I was like who built that car? Like, it's not Stark, and obviously Wakanda is not, out yet. So it just really to me cemented this is like a sci-fi, the MCU is not really considered to be a sci-fi I don't know, universe really, even though I think it completely overlaps. But this movie specifically overlapped with that kind of genre. That car would not normally exist,
right?
Even in action movies. And also the piece of that, oh my god, the thing that Nat has at the end that makes her look
that is so neat.
What a weird, wild piece of tech to introduce and then never use again.
Yeah.
Or even speak of. What kind of weird, it wasn't
What's
even
going on here?
It wasn't even like a Chekhov gun situation. They just never mentioned it before, ever. And then they use it for that one moment, and then they never talk about it again. It gets me every time. How weird is that?
It's true. And I guess it is maybe a testament to the fact that I am used to seeing advanced technology and stuff in the MCU that I didn't even question that she would have it. I'm like, yeah, of course she has something like that, you know?
You're but she's a spy and then she could have anything, right?
Yeah, right. But
it's so weird.
But you're right. It is strange.
What? Who developed that? Why haven't they? Are they using it more often? Literally, why have we not seen it used more often? They could use that so many times. But I don't know. It's just weird to just. It's a weird little plot thingy to just here we go and then take it away right away.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, we should also probably talk about the Peggy scene.
I would like to talk about that, and not just because I like being sad.
Yes.
Okay. You start. I guess mine isn't related strictly to that scene, but it is about Peggy. So go for it.
I don't know if I have too much to say really about it, other than that whole scenario. It's sad to me because it reads as so real. That is just a very real situation for someone to be. Now, I'm obviously not Steve being young and the woman he loved is old and also has dementia, but dementia as a thing being this kind of barrier between Steve and his past, right? Peggy, the moment where Peggy looks at him and is like, Steve, you're back, it's really you, and he's used to it, he's definitely done this before, and that's what gets me. And he just goes along with it, yeah, it's me, Peg, I couldn't leave my best girl. Oh my god. I cry every single time because it's done so well, it's written so well, and I hate to sing Chris Evans' praises every single time we talk about him, but he is really good. He sells that it's a flicker of emotion on his face where he realizes oh, here we go again. Okay, gotta talk her down again. Like, yep, it's me, I'm here again, even though he's probably done this tons of times before. It kills me. It's so good.
It's really good. You're right.
It's okay. This is not sad. It's more funny. I love
Okay,
that
good.
Peggy is like, "You're always so dramatic, Steve." Like, this is what we've been saying. He's like a
That's
dramatic
true.
troll.
He
Yeah,
is. I mean,
straight
like,
from a primary source.
you're right, because jumping off the helicopter or whatever without a parachute to avoid being questioned about his love life.
My
That
favorite Steve part.
the truly iconic elevator scene.
Yes.
Truly iconic.
Anyone know when I get out?
I truly remember doing that in like the hotel in Galesburg
Oh
because
my
I
God.
could. It was hilarious.
Oh my
But
God.
so what else?
Dramatic.
What other dramatic things does he do? So
He
much.
drops his fucking shield out of the huge like helicarrier thing and is like, "I'm not gonna fight you, buddy."
Oh yeah,
Like,
that is pretty dramatic.
you're gonna die.
Anything he does with his motorcycle.
Oh my God. He
So
fucking like throws his motorcycle, not on this movie, but doesn't he do that in Age of Ultron? He throws it
can't
at people.
remember.
I'm gonna throw my motorcycle at Nazis from now on. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah,
There are just a bunch of like dramatic moments because Steve is very dramatic.
it's true. I feel like there was one more. Oh no, that's not dramatic. This one's just dumb. Why would you put a top secret USB drive in a vending machine? Steve,
Chaotic
it
dumbass.
kills me. It kills me. Why did you put it there? Anyone could get it.
I also just like to imagine like Natasha innocently trying, like very casually putting in, money after money to get to the drive at the back. She has all this gum now.
That's true.
Nothing to see here, guys. I just really like gum. Waiting
Plus,
for
there's
my
the
dad.
fact that there's
check.
no way she carries change. So, like,
Yes.
how did she
She
find
goes
it?
down to the front desk. Excuse me. Can I have some change for this $1 bill? These are the
That
real headcanons we deserve.
That is definitely what happened. But let's change the subject. This is business.
Okay. And this is business, and these are the hero questions. Do-do-do-do-do-do. I'm gonna just sing a different song each time we do these.
Yes.
Okay. Question number 1. Are they happy? Is Chris Evans, I'm sorry, Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers happy?
No, he's sad. Well, he was happy
sad.
at the beginning, but
Yeah,
by the end, something is going on.
When his entire world is uprooted and he realizes that
his best friend
Shield
is alive.
His best friend's alive and doesn't remember him, which is pretty sad. And then he thought that he like sacrificed himself to kill Hydra, but he didn't. That's pretty fucked up.
Can you even imagine?
That's well, no, I can't. That'd be really sucky, and I think he runs with it a lot better than most people would.
It's probably true.
He is John Mulaney voice. This might as well happen.
At this point in his life, absolutely.
Okay. Second question. What do they sacrifice? In this specific movie, what does Steve sacrifice? I mean, he like almost sacrifices his life at the end of it.
He's willing to, as he so often is. Yeah. One day it's going to catch up to him. What else is he's willing to sacrifice his, I don't know, this is going to be phrased right, his reputation, kind of, because Shield like declares him a fugitive and everything. They're like, he's a criminal who's on the run, so he's willing to give up this entire like construct of what Captain America is in order to actually do the right thing.
True. And I wonder if that's even like, I don't think he even really views that as a sacrifice, because that's how he is.
That's true.
He's just like, well, screw the title. I'm doing what should be right, and that's
right.
Important.
Oh, definitely. I'm not saying he thinks it's a sacrifice, but like if you're looking from the outside, you could probably
make that argument. Totally. Okay. Number three, what makes them a hero? What makes Steve Rogers in this specific movie a hero? And I think that just goes back to what we were just saying about how to him it doesn't matter. Like him being a hero is just him being himself, really.
Yeah. It's not contingent on his image or perception or anything else. It's
Yeah.
literally how it goes back to Stanley Tucci, Hard Eyes.
Ugh, Stan. But I think you're right. I think that's the main thing.
Plus, he also does the whole inspiring other people thing in this one. Not that he didn't do it in
True.
First Avenger or Avengers,
True.
obviously, but
But
you get to see it actually happen.
and it's so beautiful. That's true. Okay, so I would say, we have to update the chart, but I would say Steve's probably around the same place. Would you agree?
Where was he before?
Okay. So Steve, Bruce, and Thor are currently all situated at the truly an icon status line, which is just below Tony, please stop being so self-sacrificing, and just above Natasha and Clint at the hero we need, deserve, etc.
Okay. He gets very close to the please
He
stop being
does.
so self-sacrificing in this one.
Yeah. I would argue that he gets there, but not for the world at large. He gets there for Bucky specifically.
Yes.
That makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, I don't know.
That is exactly that is him getting beat up by him at the end is exactly what I was picturing when I said that. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Maybe he's in between. He's not really on one of the lines or not.
Yeah,
he's kind of nestled in between them.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. And while we're here, was it yesterday? 2 days ago? When was the Super Bowl?
That was on Sunday, and we are recording this on Wednesday.
I have no idea what time is anymore. Anymore. See, I can't even speak.
Me too.
Okay, so there's
3 days ago.
3 days ago, they dropped a 30-second Avengers Endgame like TV spot before the Super Bowl. I don't know. It just appeared online because I was not watching. And we're not going to talk about it for too long. I just want to say that it seems like versus the first trailer, it seems like a whole different movie than the first trailer made it seem like, and I love it. It seems like a horror film almost.
Yeah, I can't remember what I initially said when we first talked about it.
Freaked out about it.
But I really liked the tone. I'm really interested to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And did you see all the stuff about they edited people out?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I'm excited to see if that's true. And
I can't decide. I tried looking at the HD frames and seeing if I could notice any editing out, but one, I'm sure their team is really good and they wouldn't have made it obvious. Yeah. And two, it could just be weird staging.
It could be.
Why would they all necessarily be blind? I don't know. But it also could be Carol or someone else. Who's to say?
Right.
I also just the part where Steve grinds his jaw. I'm not even gonna say it's hot. It was a little bit hot, but mostly it scared me.
What is that one quote? Demons run when a good man goes to war. What line from The Good Place?
I thought you meant the line from The Good Place where she's like, being scared and horny is the best type of horny. And I was like, you are right.
True, but also we are very different people.
Our brains just
no, I was going for the whole demons run when a good man goes to war type of thing. The what?
Doctor Who quote.
Is that what that's from?
Do you even watch Doctor Who?
No. I've just seen it around on the internet.
I love you.
I just, my brain is a weird, trap that collects some stuff and other stuff just goes.
It collects the meaningful, deep, beautifully written stuff and just spits out everything else.
And then psychically transfers some to you where it gets jumbled up into malapropisms or whatever.
That's very, very true. And I'm also surprised that like I haven't made another mistake in this podcast yet since that first one, which is very weird considering this is our 7th episode.
It is pretty impressive.
Meanwhile, I've been doing it every single day of my life in the meantime, but it's fine.
You
no
win some,
idiot
you lose some.
is safe. Okay, that's it for for today, I think.
Yeah, that's it for us.
Next episode, we are talking about Avengers: Age of Ultron, which is perhaps unfortunately one of my favorite movies in the Avengers. It is unfortunate because it's like objectively a bad movie, but the good parts in it are so good, and I wish we got more. But again, that's table that for another time. That is
Once
next
again,
time.
I'm realizing how much I don't watch these movies. Like I love them, but yeah. I'm realizing as I go along how few times I've rewatched some of them.
I mean, me too. Like this is the first time I've watched this one in a long time, I think. And this is like this one is in Winter Soldier. Like everyone loves this one, but I think I've only watched it like maybe twice in my entire lifetime. Yeah. Versus I think you've watched this one at least a lot of times, right?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say can't relate.
You're like not a big mood. Anyways, we digress, I think. Next time, Age of Ultron. My younger brother and sister, who are twins, are gonna be here because of Pietro and Wanda. Clearly. So we'll catch you guys later.
Yep. AvengeGirls out.